In 2001, my supervisor wanted me to disown the topic that I had selected, that I presented in as part of my award for the partial fulfillment of the higher national diploma in marketing. He wanted me to write something that was a bit more conventional, something that was something that was part of what was actually taught in business school that I attended. What happened after that, I'm going to have to let you know. But in the meantime, thank you so much for coming around today. I want to ask you a question actually. Have you ever wanted to be part of something that was very meaningful, something that was rewarding, something that was fulfilling? Have you ever wanted? So today I've got good news for you. Today I'm going to share with you how you can volunteer with an NGO. Working in an NGO is actually rewarding. It's rewarding because you get to be part of a process that is empowered by the belief that change is possible, that the world could be made better, and then the world could be made better, and then also goals could be, development could be sustainable. But who wouldn't want to be part of this lustrous process? Despite the fact that this is actually a lustrous process, not every person gets taken for this very opportunity. Why? Because the need for the turnaround time for getting people to be able to respond to the needs of an NGO, and then the need for monitoring and evaluation, the expectations of donors, everything makes it so much in such a way that there's a lot of time. Time is always at stake. There's no time to waste time. And so because of that, the predominant criteria for selecting people that work in an NGO becomes experience. Those people who can just go, ready, plug, and play into the field. That's the reality. I'm so sorry to let you know that. I get some people coming back to meet me and say, but I just want to provide my expertise. I just want to provide my service. Why? I don't care whether you pay me, you don't pay me. I'm so sorry, but that doesn't always happen like that. You just have to forgive us, but sometimes we find ourselves in winding processes of recruitment, bureaucracies being required, and then having to use algorithms, to use some cliches that we borrow from I don't know where in recruiting people, because those criteria are the ones that could easily be read and understood when documented. And so this brings also a conflict between the person who does have a passion, who want to achieve, who want to be part of something meaningful, and then you have on the other side, you have the bureaucracy, you have a process, you have policies that tell you, we are sorry, we know, we understand what you feel, but we really are sorry we can't take you at this point in time. Please come back another time. Someone probably wondering, what really does NGO stand for? So NGO stands for non-governmental organization. The first mention of NGO was in 1945 after the newly created UN in its Article 71 did refer to NGO as non-governmental organizations which will be free from government interferences. And we have NGOs in almost anything you're looking for, from advocacy to family issues, to animal rights, to everything you're looking for. As a matter of fact, I actually was surprised to realize that we had an NGO that was actually dedicated to the cause of the red ants. Yeah, red ants. So you have NGO in almost everything, and you may also have to come across some terms such as INGO. INGO stands for International Non-Governmental Organization. They are international. They go everywhere. You come across an ENGO, which is Environmental Non-Governmental Organizations. Those are like Greenpeace, dedicated to climate changes, to environmental issues. So that's for nature. You come across terms such as RINGO, which is Religious International Non-Governmental Organization. We have World Visions, we have Christian Relief Services, we have TFON, we have Samaritan Purse, we even have ZOA. Those are RINGO. We have We also have the BINGOs, BINGO, which is big international non-governmental organizations. And one example we have to be the Red Cross. We also have CSO, which is civil society organizations, are also part of the NGOs. Amnesty International is a civil society organization. So those are for civil causes. Those are there to be able to help you. Then at the grassroots, we have the CBOs, which is the community-based organizations that actually help there to also help and support. So all of these things are different. You can find an NGO in almost anything that you are looking for. And working with an NGO, I'll keep repeating again, is that it's rewarding. Why is it rewarding? Like I did say, you're part of something meaningful, something that is empowered by the belief that change is possible, that life could be made better, and that development could be sustained. Now, the question now becomes, how can someone get an opportunity into an NGO and volunteer? My name is Ansi, I'm your career breakthrough psychic, and I am here to share with you how you can volunteer with an NGO. How can you volunteer with an NGO? How you can volunteer with an NGO? I have experience volunteering with an NGO. I started my career as a volunteer with an NGO. I have managed volunteer, resource volunteers, both national, international, and community-based volunteers. Even at this point in time, as I'm telling you, I am actually in the field to be able to resource volunteers, and today I'm going to have to share with you how you can find opportunity to volunteer that could add UNICEF in your CV alongside the voluntary service overseas. It's so exciting to be part of a process that can provide an opportunity for 150 persons in the community. So tip number one, how you can volunteer with an NGO. The first thing you need is passion. The second thing you need is passion. The third thing you need is passion. This is 1 in 3. You need passion. I did start with a story of how in 2001 my supervisor had wanted me to disown my proposed topic towards the fulfillment, the partial fulfillment of the higher national diploma in marketing, because he felt that it was something that was not conventional. It was something that was not taught in the business school that I attended for 3 years. I had submitted a proposed topic on the relevance of marketing for non-profit organizations with emphasis on faith-based organization, and I felt that that wasn't it. But it was something I was passionate about. It was something that I actually wanted to see done. I wasn't interested in just filling the ticket and doing something that every person is doing and submitting, and after at the end I just satisfied that actually I have a certificate and moving about. No, I wanted to do something that I was passionate about. I wanted to do something that I felt needed to be improved. I felt something needed to be done about. And so I made a case to him, and good enough also, he found reasons and he accepted. For me, I did not care. I did not care if for the past 3 years that I've been in the institution, in business school, nothing was taught about non-profit organization. I did not care really if there were limited or no resources available for me to be able to do my work. I did not care if no one actually had done such. Of course, it was good. I did set the pace on that. I hope I haven't gone back there to check if somebody else had done similar thing, but I do believe that was very important. And even when I moved on to do my master's, I did not even find the courses were all business related. Thank God for people who are reading like ACC and accounting. At least they have charity accounting, non-profit accounting, but I never had such. I started as a volunteer post-tertiary education. I spent 2 years volunteering as a finance and regional assistant with a faith-based organization in order to be able to put into practice the theories and the empirical evidences that I found during my project work. And so for 2 years I did volunteer. I also have experience in managing volunteers, in resourcing volunteers. And as a matter of fact, right now I'm in the field trying to resource 148 volunteers for a UNICEF-based project, a UNICEF-funded project. Now, what does it take to volunteer? The first thing I did talk about passion. So passion is quite important. Another place where I've seen passion being demonstrated a lot of time. One place I could see passion, I could talk about passion was how somebody made sure that he faced the odd and did not disappoint his recruiter, because first impressions is always important. So they were based in Zambia. There were two of them, and I did understand at that period in time also that in Zambia electricity can be a challenge. And because electricity can be a challenge, sometimes you can't have things done when you want to do it. And so the first young man that we were supposed to interview did come back at the nick of time and then requested for us to change the timing because power failure had come, and because of power failure, he couldn't charge either his laptop or his phone. Then the second person came up and made us understand there was power failure, but that has made sure that his phone was actually charged, and we were able to do our Skype interview. So that for me was quite encouraging. That for me was quite impressive, meaning that he actually taking time to ensure that he did not disappoint and created a good self-impression. The story, as the story will have it, he fought against that. He stood up and then he made it through, came in country, provided his support and went back, and we've been in touch ever since then. So passion is important. The second thing, which one person needs to know also, is that be competitive. You don't think that because you're applying for a volunteering position that it's going to come is that easy. Nay. You need to be competitive. You need to show that you to create the attention that is required for the role. You need to show that you have the desire. You need to be desirable also. You need to have you need to be able to prove that you are somebody worth it. It's like one example I would probably use is it's somebody who wants to go into a relationship. It might be a male or a female. So the female will not just go for any person. She will have to make her own selection, use her own selection criteria. The same thing with the male will have to have selection criteria, because not every person is compatible. That reminds me of a song by Queen Latifah. What was that song? Desire, I know you love me, you're fine, thank you, but I'm not the type of girl that I think I am. I don't just fall into the hands of every man. So those are the things, and the same criteria applies itself. So there's a competition. You are likely to face people who are more experienced than you. So you need to ensure that you put yourself in place. You read hard, you study, you do your research very well, and then you move on and then take your application with seriousness. Sadly, I see a lot of persons applying, and in the application, what I see actually, it's appalling. I mean, usually when I'm putting a job advert out there, I will always make sure that I ask the people to write a cover letter or a motivation letter, something implying that shows that their interest in the role, with some example. But what do I get most often in return? Sometimes I see some people responding and say, I feel I can do the job. My motivation is this. My supporting statement is that I am able. Why really? In fact, somebody asked me at the point in time, kindly tell me what a supporting statement is. Really? Well, that's what happens. We see a lot of things, but we just have to keep moving on. So please, as much as possible, try to read instruction. Quickly, what you are doing to the mind of the recruiter is that you don't read instruction, you don't follow instructions, you are not disciplined enough to be able, you don't pay attention to detail. So if in your CV you write pay attention to detail and you don't follow the instructions given, hello? Oh, I won't even talk about those people who will apply for a position that was advertised and then making references to another organization. You're just killing yourself. So be competitive, make sure that you put yourself to it, take your application seriously, move into it as if a lot of your life did depend on it. The third thing that you need to consider will have to be, you need to be realistic. You need to be realistic. Please, please, bros, be realistic. You see, one of the realities you need to take into account is that, one, most NGOs do not pay. Some NGOs, for some it's free, some NGO will provide you with what we call living expenses or allowances to be able to just, because we know that you pay transport, we know that you fuel your car, we know that you will need probably in the environment to be able to eat, so we provide something which is, some call it stipend and allowance, your living expenses, like UN does it, the voluntary service overseas does that. So that is what you require. The second reality is that you will not be treated like an employee. What I mean treated like an employee is not a discrimination, is that some of the benefits you are likely not to get. You're likely not to get most of the benefit, like the pension benefit, like you are likely to get many of the benefits and not to get many of the benefits. So please take that into consideration. I have sadly found out some people coming to tell me that, well, they have actually supported and they did something that was an employee level role, and they are requiring, they want a compensation for that. Really sad enough, that's the reality. Many persons actually are looking, thinking that by having an opportunity to volunteer with an organization, that is going to take them an automatic standard in getting a role with that organization. Of course, I know many persons actually who did that, who actually got through. Me personally, I started like with a volunteer. And I know many of my friends who actually move on to become head of the organizations, having some positions, but it doesn't always work like that. I'm so sorry to disappoint you. It does not always work like that. Not every person get that opportunity. As a matter of fact, you even be surprised that while you are still volunteering with the organization and an opportunity comes out, in order to be fair and transparent, other persons will come in, and if they actually perform better than you, go on, you're gone. I did mention in the last video is about the internal candidate, some of the preparation the internal candidate need to do ahead of time. So that's quite important. The third reality check is that you need to be emotionally prepared. If somebody ever thinks that because you're a volunteer you would not be working, there is a lot of demand for time and pressure. It's all there, so you need to be emotionally prepared. You need to be physically challenged to do it. And apart from that, sometimes it could be scary. For example, I've told you that I'm in the field right now going for resourcing activity, and one of the areas I'm going to have to is one area where kidnapping is known to be. So what happens if I am? I pray not. Please pray. I pray not. But if it happens, what happens? Oh, yesterday as we were coming back in Jahun in Jigawa State, we saw a caravan of migrants who have trekked, I would assume, from Niger Republic, and there are also some Arab-looking persons. So I assume that these ones also came from Libya, trek all the way throughout the desert, walking through into the country. I'm not sure whether they were checked or unchecked, but these people had trekked. And what if these people were actually AOGs who are coming as mercenaries to the country? Then they find an altercation. What could have happened? No one knows. So it's come with its own demand. There's a lot of pressure. Reports are expected here and there. So if you feel that that's the easy way you're going for, I'll just tell you, get back home and don't even desire to volunteer with an NGO. But we have to forge on, we have to do it because we are empowered by the belief that change is possible, that life could be made better, and that the development could be sustainable. Therefore, you need to know that these things are happening. Be realistic. Now, and lastly, I'm going to have to share where to look for when you are looking for an opportunity to volunteer with an NGO. I'm going to have to give you 5 sources. The first place to look at will be the organization website itself. There usually is a place where that say work with us, volunteer with us, support us, how you can support. Those places are usually there. You can go there and find out where those opportunities can also link you with. You could try UNV. UNV is United Nations Volunteer. They have a database, they have a source, resources, they have opportunities where someone could actually volunteer. I wanted to speak to the director, the country director for UNV in Nigeria, but based on certain timing, I couldn't get hold of her. We've been working together on a couple of projects, and so that's the second one. The third one is called volunteermatch.org. Volunteermatch.org actually even have an opportunity for opportunity for virtual work. You could go there. It's said in your country, you don't move out, you stay where you are, and then you can provide your best in one way or the other. The fourth one will be volunteerhq.org. Go there. It's the headquarters of volunteering. And the fifth one is the Voluntary Service Officer is a thought leader, the leading NGO in volunteering. The VSO spends very less on administrative costs and spend more on providing, making sure, on using volunteer, making sure that all the way down to the grassroots, people are being resourced, and then they take ownership from international volunteer to national volunteer to remote volunteer to all manner of volunteer. And therefore, VSO, the Voluntary Service Overseas, there's remote volunteering. You could be in your country, be volunteering, providing support to another country. It's good for you to just visit the website, and you will see a lot of volunteering opportunity where you can support. Right now, for a UNICEF-funded project, VSO is actually for people in the axis, so past the news, for people in the axis of Kano, Katsina, and down way to Jigawa. They are providing volunteering opportunity. Why don't you pass the message across to people? If you have some questions how you could volunteer, don't hesitate to just reach out to me. Some of the things that volunteers are, some of the things that organizations are looking for in volunteers, and I will be able to provide you tips and ideas and how you can go about it. But remember, it's competitive. Remember, be realistic. Remember, you need a lot of stamina, mental and physical stamina. I don't mean running around, no. We are actually, it doesn't matter whether you are someone who is physically challenged, like we say living with disability, or you're somebody who is very well fit. So long as you have the skill and the resources, organizations are there to accept you, to take you the way that you are. But it is not always an easy process. It doesn't come at the tip of a finger. So thank you so much for your time, and if you feel that this video was useful, kindly share to your friends, to your lovers, and to every other persons out there. I look forward to see you. If in case you don't get a video by me next week, it's probably mean that, the week after, it probably mean that I am where internet is probably not working well, and then I'm not able to post. Otherwise, let's keep watching out for each other. I'm so happy you're happy.